Hey, it's me, RJ Lunto, 89, and welcome to the first and perhaps of many Minecraft little rants. Really, the target of this show is not really more of a, probably different take on ranting. Sure, many rants are of many loud people saying their opinions and voicing to the heavens of their angry voices, but I thought to myself, you know what? Perhaps I can do it in a different way. Not have it with my face, because that's not the important thing that I have to say. See, so my face isn't important in what it looks like, because what's important is the content that I bring. The message I have come to bring to the people. Well, and as you can tell, let's get into the descriptions. Well, it's about the video games. Okay. You might be wondering. Yeah, well, many people are talking about video games. Well, as you can tell, I have an argument that says video games can be art. I mean, when was the last time you've actually played a game that might have made you think about things in a different way? Might have made you feel something different than your mindless shooter shooting down bad guys? When did you think about what actions you take and why you take them? You might not have thought of them on an active scale, you might have thought of them while you were doing them. Maybe later on when talking to people about your experience in a video game, you began to realize you were experiencing something different, a change perhaps. Maybe it wasn't the first and obvious thing that came to your mind. Maybe you weren't thinking in your mind, hey, I actually thought of this cool idea, or hey, I thought of this about this decision. But it made you think about, what was I experiencing in that game? Why was I enjoying it? Or why was I disturbed about it? Or why did I get pissed at some certain points in the narrative? Maybe it wasn't always this is a fact where I can say about art in general. Now, for anything to be considered art, one must say it's an expression of the creator, or the artiste, you might say. One that explores facets of the human mind. This might be a great way people say, well, a game developer isn't a artiste. They aren't creating any things that make people think deeply. Well, not all games are like that. I mean, is there movies you've watched not to think but to just be mindlessly entertained by this sheer entertainment of it? I mean, we've all watched at least a scary movie franchise, right? Do those engage you in any way? Seriously? Make you think about the human condition? No, you're watching it to be entertained by the silliness of it all. By the parody. Sure, not the greatest parodies. And in a sense, there are video games like that. There are your Call of Duties. They're just simply mindless shooters, shooting up your bad guys, yelling in the microphone about how much a guy is such a noob and how awesome you are compared to them, and how much, I don't know, ladies again or something, or whatever you do. Ensure that you are awesome or whatever. But a game like, say, Minecraft is a very different game. You are expressing yourself. The developer has created a game where it gives you an opportunity with the tools that they have provided to express oneself creatively. One can play as a grand survivor, a grand and explorer. Someone going from nothing to a grand village, to exploring interesting maps, or downloading a different type of mod and provide you some more of an experience in that game. Sure, at the time you might not have thought of it. You might not even think to yourself of how the experience Minecraft has made you feel something that was allowed you to experience yourself. Exploration of yourself and a self-expression, you might say. You're saying, wow, this is what I do, what I would love to be like, or anything. What things to create. And there's many creations out there that create interesting new forms. People recreating a photograph, making it through the pixelations of painstakingly crafting it to look almost like it. Is it like it? No, but it's a repetition of it itself. In this instance, what Minecraft has allowed the developers. In many sense, you can think as this type of game as a developer giving you a tool set. Just as you go to a shop where a person might have developed a art kit or a painter's set for you to help you learn to do the art itself in its own way. And downloading a texture pack or even creating your own texture packs might help you decide what kind of design aesthetics you would like to see look to the game, graphically and visually. And many can argue that since this is a artistic type game, look at that awesome village over there. This looks cool already. So anyways, back to my subject, as I like to say, that these games are opportunities, you might say, argue. We delve into our own psyche, or even to take a creative look at what we wanted to create in our world. Give us control over our creation, to be masters of our own world. The same thing can be said about RPGs. These RPGs allow the player to express another part of themselves, explore that hero inside them that they always dreamt to be. That awesome wizard or that awesome warrior. Seeing themselves as some sort of one-man army, stopping against hordes. And as always with the art theme is exploring the human condition. Like, in many ways, this could be attributed to horror games. True horror games, not these killing zombie simulators. Games that allow us to look into our own psyche, the darker part of our minds. The parts that frighten us and yet are intriguing. In fact, I can argue that Amnesia is an excellent candidate. It allows you to not only explore the minds of another human being, but also allows you to explore the inner self. How you would respond to such actions, or how you're almost as if you're like a consciousness in Daniel, that last part of him that still seems to hold that grip of reality of what's truly right or wrong. And at first you can say you feel sorry for Daniel, that he was put into some horrid situation that he was so unprepared for, so unable to see. And anyways, this is pretty true. But, you know, it's something that you explore and it's like, oh, I might have explored felt the same way, lost, or and later learn that one of the many reasons why he wanted to forget was his horrid doings, and you start to get angry at him, frustrated, and say, why did you do this, Daniel? And you start to want to understand why would a man be delivered to do such horrid things. And one of the parts that really got me disturbed was when I was playing Amnesia. And as I played this game, I started to explore the torture rooms in these places. Started to invoke a certain feeling of, do these people really deserve this kind of suffering? Yes, they did bad things. Many would say that the forger didn't deserve his own just punishment, but did the rapist also deserve it? Many would argue, yes, he violated someone. He forced someone against his will, and thus he deserves to be punished for his pain that he inflicted on the other individual. And in that case, it reveals a part of ourselves of what we believe people about punishment, and explores our darker parts of what justice really is, or what's truly right for a person who even does something bad. In all, many people will say, but this is just a video game. There's nothing important to it. It's just a video game. Of course, that's a perfectly valid response, because not many people would think or even consider a video game as being taken serious. But here, I have seen these Let's Plays of The Walking Dead. Yes, not the series, but the video game. And perhaps this is a great example of what shows that the impact that a video game can have on the player, on the choices he made, and how you can get angry at particular characters and interact and choose, respond how you would choose if you were in a post-apocalypse with a ragtag group of survivors. And it perhaps creates one of the greatest child-type characters ever. You didn't feel like wanting to kill her. You didn't feel like wanting to just tell her to shut up. You wanted to actually protect her. You actually wanted to develop her personality and make her almost your own in a way. And I suppose you can argue that's perhaps, even though the story is pretty crafted, it allows us to explore our own tailored needs. And sure, they have predetermined, programmed things that are going to happen, but based on the choices that will happen, because you can't design for every possible situation. That takes a lot of time and money. And it's always interesting to hear people argue that video games are always going to be this thing that we're just going to mindlessly shoot up some zombies or some villains or whatever. The story is not really that important, but if the game is created right and it's designed with a certain purpose, You can have true potential. It can impact one's life. And if you want to have people treat games seriously, as a serious form of valid artistic pursuit, you can say you have to allow the definitions of what people already determine what art is and what isn't. Though, arguably, modern art has pretty much kind of destroys it a little bit. Because, I guess in their sense, they are questioning what art is and what isn't. In the same sense, as a medium, as we grow and become more known to the populace through casual games, party type games, it'll come to a point where the medium itself might have to make a decision on what it wants to develop into. Does it just want to be an entertainment venue, or does it want to be another form of medium, such as art or film medium? Since in all, it is a different type of way to tell a story. It is, in the end, another form of art that has truly have lots of potential, but yet might take some time to find its way. And that's my conclusion for this. And if you have, as always, if you have enjoyed this, a like is appreciated. And if you want to keep up with this or with other videos I might produce, then you can click the subscribe button. If not, that's your choice. You're free to do it. And I'd like to do some things a little different with this. I'd like to have your input, what you thought. Are there any games that had any significant impact on you that made you feel that this was a piece of art? That it was artistic, not an art game, let me clarify that, but an actual game. An actual video game, but gameplay and story perhaps. And as always, I'm RJLentom89 signing off with peace and love.